It's 9 p.m. You're still at the office while your team went home at 5. Does that sound familiar? I spent 21 years in corporate banking watching brilliant directors work themselves into the ground because they never learned the difference between rescuing and coaching. And here's what nobody tells you. Every time you solve a problem for your team, you're actually creating a bigger problem for yourself. In the next 10 minutes, you're going to learn the exact question that stops your team from bringing you every problem, and the phrase that builds their confidence without hand-holding, and the one question that creates accountability without you becoming a micromanager. So at this timestamp, I'll show you the question that immediately breaks the rescue cycle. And at this timestamp, I'll address the biggest objection you're thinking right now. And at this timestamp, you'll see the results that my client Kim got using these questions. But first, you need to understand why 90% of managers actually get this backwards and why your expertise might actually be sabotaging your team's growth. So let me tell you about Kim. Kim was a department head leading a team of 50 people. She's a brilliant strategist, but her team treated her like a human search engine. Every decision, every problem, every question went straight to Kim's desk. She was literally working 70 hours a week in a job that she'd actually longed for. But when she started working with me, she was literally drowning in her own success. Her exact words to me were, "Terry, I can't keep this up for much longer. I'm going to ask my boss for my old job back." And of course, I said, "No, not yet." Now, before I show you the 5 questions that change everything for Kim, here's the dangerous pattern that probably is happening in your office right now. Your team brings you a problem. Your brain immediately sees 3 solutions. You share the best one. They implement it. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Because what you've actually done is you've trained them that you're the answer machine. So tomorrow, they'll bring you another problem and another and another and another. This is the rescue cycle. And it's why high performers get promoted into management roles where they work harder than they ever did while their teams get less capable over time. That's just a nightmare. Ugh. The question that breaks this cycle isn't what you would expect. In fact, it's the opposite of what your rescue instinct tells you to do. The first question that breaks the rescue cycle is deceptively simple. What do you think you should do here? Not, here's what you should do. Not, let me think about that and get back to you. Just redirect their problem back to them with genuine curiosity about their ideas. Here's why this works. Most of the time, they already know the answer. They just want permission to act or confirmation that they're on the right track. But here's where most managers mess this up and why the second question is critical. Question number 2, what's preventing you from moving forward? This reveals whether you're dealing with a skill gap or a confidence gap. Skill gaps need training, confidence gaps need encouragement. Without knowing which one you're facing, you'll give the wrong support. When Kim started using these 2 questions, something unexpected happened. Her team stopped bringing her problems that they could solve themselves. But the real breakthrough came 3 weeks later. Kim was in back-to-back meetings when her team faced a client crisis. Instead of waiting for Kim, they used questions on one another. What do you think we should do here? They handled the entire situation, saved the client relationship, and Kim only found out about it in the weekly update. That's when Kim realized she wasn't making herself indispensable. She was making herself irrelevant in the best possible way. Now, before I show you the questions 3 through 5, let me say this. If you're watching this and thinking, these questions make sense, but I need help tailoring them to my specific team dynamics, that's exactly what we do on a free strategy call. I'll look at your team's maturity level, your industry's pace, and the specific bottlenecks you're facing. And then we'll map out exactly which questions to use when and how to handle the resistance you'll get. So no pitch and no pressure, just a real conversation about what's actually stopping your team from being self-sufficient. You can book time with me in the first link in the description. Book it now while you're thinking about it, because by the end of this video, you'll have 4 more ideas competing for your attention. All right, so back to the questions. Because question 3 is where most managers accidentally create dependency instead of capability. So now the third question prevents the biggest leadership trap, creating dependency instead of capability. So this question is, how would you approach it if I wasn't available? This forces them to think beyond you as a safety net. Because here's the truth. If your team can't function when you're not there, then you haven't built a team. You've built a house of cards. Question 4 gets even more specific. What would need to be true for you to handle this with confidence? This creates a development roadmap in real time. Maybe they need access to a vendor contact. Maybe they need clearer authority levels. Maybe they just need to know that you trust their judgment. Now, I know you're thinking, Terry, this sounds great in theory, but I don't have time to coach. It's faster if I just give them the answer. I always tell my clients this, look, you don't have time not to coach, because if you're doing everything and you're solving everyone's problems, that model is not sustainable, and you are going to be stuck where you are right now, working long hours and burning yourself out, which does not sound fun. But listen, I get it. I told myself the same thing for years. But here's the math that changed my mind. Every minute you spend coaching saves you 10 minutes later. Every problem you help them solve themselves is a problem that they'll never bring to you again. Every question you ask instead of answer, you give them an investment that compounds. Kim learned this lesson the hard way. In month 2 of using these questions, her team started solving problems she didn't even know existed. Her workload did not just decrease, her team's capability exploded. The 5th question, that's where the real transformation happens. The 5th question is the most powerful, and it only works if you've built trust with the first 4. When will you update me on your progress? Notice I didn't say if you'll update me. I said when. This creates accountability without micromanaging. It puts them in control of the timeline while ensuring nothing falls through the cracks. Let me tell you about Brett. He's a director at a biotech startup, brilliant guy, but his team kept missing handoffs with other departments. Everything was becoming his problem to solve. Brett was spending 60% of his time fixing other people's communication failures. Does that sound even a little bit familiar to you? When Brett started using all 5 questions together, something remarkable happened. His team didn't just start solving problems on their own, they started preventing them. Hallelujah! Within 6 months, Brett's team had the smoothest interdepartmental workflow in the company. The founders noticed. They started pulling Brett into strategic meetings. 2 years later, Brett went from director to SVP, overseeing the same departments that used to give him headaches. But here's what Brett told me was the real win. He said, Terry, I used to dread Monday mornings because I knew my inbox would be full of problems and I didn't have time to deal with them. Now I look forward to seeing what my team accomplished while I was gone. This is what happens when you stop rescuing and you start coaching. Your team grows, your workload shrinks, your value to the organization skyrockets. You can spend the time on developing strategies that build value for your organization. You now have the 5 questions. Kim used them, Brett used them, hundreds of my clients have used them, and the difference between watching this and actually transforming your team is taking action in the next 48 hours. Don't be the director who knows these questions but never implements them. That's not you. Here's what I want you to do. Use question 1 with your team tomorrow. Just that one. Notice what happens when you genuinely ask instead of immediately answer. If you want to accelerate beyond that and build a complete system so your team becomes fully self-sufficient in 90 days, that's what the free strategy call is for. The link's in the description. Schedule time with me today. I know you've got this. Now go and build that team that works for you, not the other way around. I'm Terry McDougall, and I hope to talk to you soon.